Hey, I have a story time for you. It is about a health issue that I had that turned into a phenomenal experience, and I wanted to share. Maybe you can take something away from it for yourself. So I had a mole looked at, and I've had it forever. And turns out it's weird and rare and unpredictable. It's called a Spitz nevis. And so that was alarming. And they recommended that I have surgery to like dig it out and the surrounding areas. Yuck. I don't like stuff like that. And so, I went through the normal human emotions of, oh my gosh, what if this is really bad? She talked about one of the dangers of this type of mole is that if you don't have it surgically removed and they dig it all out, then you can end up with metastatic melanoma, and that's not what you want to hear. So I went through those human emotions. First it was fine, then I was upset, then I was wondering, all the stuff. And because I'm a regular human and that's what our human brains do. So then I decided, okay, what kind of experience do I want to have? And how do I want this to go? So the first thing I did was get pranic healing from my friend and mentor, Paula. And in the first pranic healing session, so I went to get a pre-surgery pranic healing. I thought she was going to do the pre-surgery protocol. So when she gets in there to the session, she's like, oh, you have old stories that want to come out, which was interesting because I had noted in my journal the previous 2 days that all of these old stories had been coming up. Like, I always have the weird health things, and I always have the things that people don't know much about, or they don't understand, or they're not cut and dried. That is an old story that has played out so many times in my life. And so that, among a few other old stories, were coming up. So in the pranic healing session, it was all focused on removing old stories. So much so that when I left the session, I was on my way home, I was reflecting on it, and I was like, oh, the old stories. And they literally would not come to mind. Like, it was as if I didn't have access to those old stories anymore, which was so cool. They're pretty deep rooted, so they did eventually start to resurface themselves. So I did some subconscious reprogramming. I do the To Be Magnetic work to reprogram my subconscious mind so that you can move beyond the old stories. So I did journaling. I did some, she calls them deep imaginings. They're like a special form of meditation so that you can rewrite those neural pathways and create new stories. So I did journaling. I did new stories. I had another pranic healing session. I had 2 before the surgery. And I was watching one of my favorite shows ever. I'm obsessed with it, and I'm hoping they're coming out with more because I just finished it. Alaska, The Last Frontier. It's about this family of Alaskan homesteaders, and I love Ott Sr. He's in his 70s. He's done a lot of personal work in the last couple of years, and so it's really fun to see his attitude about different things now and how different it is from the beginning of the season. So I was watching that show, and he had to have a hernia surgery, and he comes out of the surgery and the cameramen are on him, and they're like, hey, it's with the camera. How was the surgery? And he's like, it was phenomenal. This is in the parking lot of the hospital. What an amazing, phenomenal experience that was, he said. And this light bulb clicked for me. Like, he decided that this surgery could be amazing and phenomenal, and I can also decide that this surgery can be amazing and phenomenal. Now listen, this is my life's work, helping people do this. I've been doing this for years, and it just occurred to me then, oh yeah, that tool, because I have a human brain too. So I decided, how can I make, and I really loved that thought that he had and that attitude that he had. So I decided, how can I make this an amazing and phenomenal experience? What if I chose that? What if I chose, instead of the old stories, that this is a phenomenal opportunity and an amazing experience? So I asked for help in meditation. And I also have medical anxiety, I have a tendency to pass out. I've passed out at every kind of doctor you can think of, the dentist, the eye doctor. When they prick my finger to take my blood, I have to lay down, otherwise I'll pass out. I have a very sensitive vasovagal response. So on top of all the old stories, I have this anxiety about medical things, and passing out. It's a real drag. So I asked for help in meditation with both my medical anxiety and creating an amazing experience. And so I was directed to a book from the grandmothers. If you followed me for a while, you've heard me talk about them. So their book, I can't remember which book it was. If you're interested in those books, just send me a DM and I'll give you the information on them. So I opened the book to a random page, as I do with those books. And what it said was, imagine a rod of light that's coming through you and anchoring you into the earth and keeping you steady. It's so amazing when you ask for help. And then I open to a seemingly random page that is exactly what I needed. And then that's how it works. And then imagine this rod of light expanding outward. So I thought, okay, that's a fabulous visualization to take into the surgery. And that's what I did. And that reminded me of HeartMath. So I've done HeartMath with some clients and myself. And HeartMath is, so the science is, and they can measure this, there are instruments that can measure this. You imagine a beautiful event that brings warmth to your heart. And then you bring your attention to your heart. You imagine this event and feel how that feels, and then focus on expanding it. A little bit more complicated, but that's the basics. So I decided, that's kind of what the grandmothers are saying. And what they have found, and they can measure this, is that doing this HeartMath, doing this exercise, changes the frequency of the space up to 3 feet away from your body. It changes the frequency of the space. We can measure this. They think it changes the frequency farther than 3 feet away from you, but we don't have tools to measure that. So what I was thinking was, if I come into the surgery and do this visualization and expand it with a HeartMath, then the whole room can be in this loving frequency, which would help the doctor and help what they were removing, help the nurses, help me. So that was part of my plan. And then I had a session with my friend and client Amy before I went, and I was sharing this with her. And she said, "Oh, Tracy, I just have this vision that anything left, like any old stories, any old anything that you no longer need, is going to be," like she said, "I see it magnetized to the spot on your body, and they're literally physically going to remove anything that's left." Because I had done so much work with the pranic healing and my meditation that I feel like I had done a lot of purging of those old stories and that old energy and yuck. But she said, I see anything that's left being magnetized there. And I loved that. And I call them the truth tingles now. Like when someone says something that really resonates, or I just know it's true, or I get a message, I'll get like tingles right here. And I got these truth tingles when she said that. And so I knew that was true. So I used that visualization too, just anything. And I did a meditation right before I left to go to the surgery. I did a meditation and just visualized everything going to that point so that it could be removed, anything that was left that I no longer needed. And then when I got in the surgery, I put in my earbuds and I played Om. I played Master Choa, who developed pranic healing. There's a recording of him chanting Om, and it keeps the space energetically clean and clear. So I put those in and I played Master Choa chanting Om, so that would help keep the whole space energetically clean and clear. And then I did my HeartMath, so that I would extend this loving light energy throughout the whole room. And then I called in my guides before I went into. Now, you guys, the surgeon was phenomenal. He was so great. I loved him. I loved his way. I loved his personality, which I don't know how many times I've ever said that, if ever. So that felt really noteworthy to me. And I don't think that was a coincidence, that I really vibed with the surgeon. He listened to me. He was wonderful. So that's everything that I did to prepare for the surgery. They said the surgery went fantastic. I had to have it covered for, I think, 10 days, a week or 10 days. And when they took the cover off, they were, listen, it looked wacky and frightening and weird to me. It looked like Frankenstein. And it had all of these stitches in it. It was blah, blah, blah. But the woman who took the bandage off said, wow, this looks phenomenal. Now, another old story that I cleared was that I'm a bad healer. I've been told many times by many different doctors that and there have been, I have plenty of evidence that I don't heal well. When I had my wisdom teeth out, I had all sorts of complications, even though I did everything right. And they said, why are you healing like an 85-year-old diabetic? It's so weird. So I get that a lot. That was an old story that I wanted to clear. So when she said that, oh my gosh, it's healing amazingly well. I was like, of course it is. I let that old story go. And I also did some herbal remedies that I used on it when I was able to. So if you're interested in what I did for that, you can send me a message and I can give you the details on that too. But I made an herbal remedy and also used lavender essential oil that helps with wound healing too. But that was after the fact. So even from then on, when they took the bandage off until I got the stitches out, when I went to get the stitches out, they again said, that is phenomenal. I can't believe how well it's healing. And it continues to heal so well. It looks amazing. They say it can take 1 to 2 years for it to look normal again, and I will have a scar. But I'm telling you, all of this process really made me heal. I am 100% convinced that it really helped me to heal and get through the process. All of the margins were clear, which was great news. And the best part, that's wonderful. The health piece is wonderful, and that I'm a healer or that I'm a good healer now is great. But I think the best part is letting go of those old stories. And so it's a beautiful process. So if any of this resonates with you, I wanted to share it with you. If you can take anything from this, fantastic. I hope you do. And if you need help, if you're going through something like this, or I said something that resonated and you'd like help with that, I do that kind of thing in pranic healing and in coaching. So I will put a link wherever, probably down below, wherever you're watching this, so that you can schedule a session if you want more information. Thanks. Happy healing and happy clearing of old stories. It's possible.